Shall see if this is working. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's just go right to it. Here's my picks over here. I'm gonna make my picks on this page right here. There's gonna be 8 of them. And as you can see, it's not really working right. The people who made these web pages aren't really doing their job when you do this. But as you expand this out, you can see we can add players and whatnot. So that's where my picks are going to go. Just to show you what I did last week. For those of you who saw my YouTube video, this is how I did last week. A lot of my positions did really well. I got 23, 19, 11, 17, 9, 1.4 for Delaney Walker, 10, and 20. So the ones that were over 15 or about 13, 100. If you get 100 points, that means your 8 positions got an average of 13, and I did. I got 113 points here. So anything over 13 or whatever is really good, and anything over like 20 is like beastly. So I got 2 at 20 and over, and then a couple 19s here. So that was last week. Week 7. Here we go. Let's just pick. Go right into it. Like I said, this is real easy. This is a really easy way to choose who you think is going to be the leaders, and you always go to the last 4 weeks because you want to see who's been doing the work the last 4 weeks, and of course you want to keep track of who's injured and who's not going to play and all that good stuff. So on the left, we have the fantasy points against. On the right, we have the scoring leaders. And as you can see, Deshaun Watson has been the best quarterback. He's at the top here over here. And as you can see, the fantasy points against the Cleveland Browns are now number 1, and the New England Patriots are now number 2. Cam Newton is the number 2 quarterback over here on the right. So we just want to see who they're playing and definitely pick these people. Deshaun Watson has a bye. Cam Newton is at Chicago, and he's at limited practice. Let's see what this says here. It says, limited on Wednesday's practice, Steve Reed of the Season Press. His season-long regimen, which has included limited practice seasons for the 6th consecutive week. After a slow start to the campaign, he's averaging 30 and 30. Okay, so he's just taking precautions. Nothing wrong with Cam Newton at all, which is a good thing. There we go. Get that off of there. Tom Brady's number 3 now in the last 4 weeks. Leonard Fournette. Oh, I'm sorry. This is quarterbacks. We're looking at quarterbacks. Tom Brady number 3. Alex Smith number 4. Carson Wentz number 5. Carson Wentz, man, he'll be climbing this eventually. He's just going to go. Well, he's just waiting to go off, man. Dak Prescott's going to be good. Kirk Cousins. These are your leaders. Over the last 4 weeks. Recently, these are your quarterbacks that have been just tearing it up. And of course, Aaron Rodgers is out for the season with a broken collarbone. You're not going to pick him. Russell Wilson's been doing pretty good. Okay, so those are your quarterbacks who've been really good. Here's your teams that do terrible against quarterbacks, fantasy points wise: Cleveland Browns, New England Patriots, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Indianapolis, San Francisco, Dallas. Blah blah blah. On down the list it goes. So normally I would pick Deshaun Watson regardless of who they play, especially if that team's name is over here on the list, but they're not. So you look at Cam Newton against Chicago, and you see if Chicago's here, and they're not. Okay, so let's see how far down they are, actually. Let's see, Chicago's right down here, so that's probably not a good pick. Tom Brady at Atlanta. Atlanta Falcons last 4 weeks giving up points. They've been doing decent, as you can see. He's at home against Atlanta, and they've been doing kind of decently. They've only been giving up an average of 13.63 points to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks, and that's pretty dang good. So that might not be a good pick either. So we'll just keep looking here at our quarterbacks. Alex Smith at Oakland, and Oakland Raiders are also doing good against quarterbacks. Haha. Carson Wentz against Washington Redskins. Look at the Redskins here. Redskins down here. Wow, this might be a tough week to pick. Is he Dak Prescott against San Francisco? Well, here we go. Dak Prescott averaging 75 points. I'm sorry, not averaging. He's gotten 75 points for the last 4 weeks. So, take 4 into that, you get, 60 is 15. It's almost 80, so almost, 18 points, whatever it is, 17, 18 points against teams. And guess what? Here is the San Francisco 49ers with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 worst fantasy point against for quarterbacks. So, yeah, I think we're going Dak Prescott this week. So we're out of quarterback. And look, everyone's picking Dak Prescott. Everyone. So we'll add the player here. Okay, that's going to work then. Nice. Okay. All right. So now we need 2 running backs. So let's pick our running back. Look at the click on the RB for running backs. Last 4 weeks. Again, this is a really easy strategy that I use. It's really easy to see who's been doing the best the last 4 weeks. So this is how I do it. Here's the teams that are allowing the most fantasy points against running backs here: Indianapolis, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Baltimore, Oakland, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams up here at the top. And over here we have Leonard Fournette doing damage and et cetera, et cetera. So here we go. Leonard Fournette did not practice. Let's see what's going on with Leonard Fournette. Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone said Wednesday that he doesn't want to speculate on Fournette's ankle availability for Sunday's game in Indianapolis. John, we'll see. I don't. A lot of that goes into that. They're able to do that. We just have to say, okay, so Fournette was cleared to return after injuring his ankle early in the fourth quarter of Sunday's loss to Los Angeles, but the team opted to roll with Chris Ivory afterwards, which will explain why the rookie was held out of Wednesday's practice, despite technically being available for end of Sunday's loss. Ivory was already established as a fixture, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Leonard Fournette might be a no-go, as you can see, for this game. So we'll tentatively see what he's going to do. But he was against a team that was good against he's against the number one team for 40 fantasy points against. So it's very tempting to see, who people pick, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be picked. So there he is, even though he did not practice. If he goes, then you have to pick him. So I'm gonna put him in right now. I mean, this is a lock, one of the big locks in the thing. But since he didn't practice, his numbers might go down. So let's go down and look and see if we have any others that are good candidates. So here's Le'Veon Bell against Cincinnati, and as you can see, Cincinnati is the best team against running backs. So this probably isn't a good pick, even though he's really come on strong now. As you can see, he's number 2 in the last 4 weeks. They're at home against Cincinnati, but still, Cincinnati is a beast against the running backs. This probably isn't a good pick. Todd Gurley against Arizona. Arizona Cardinals, as you can see, are way down here. Might not be a good pick. Melvin Gordon against Denver Broncos, and they're way down here. Also, in fact, they're at the second best team allowing running back yardage. Jordan Howard for Chicago against the Carolina Panthers. And as you can see, this is also not a good match. Kareem Hunt against Oakland. Aha! Here we come to the probably the next best matchup here with Kareem Hunt at Oakland. Oakland Raiders defense allowing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th most fantasy points against running backs the last 4 weeks. So we're going to add Kareem Hunt right now. There we go. And we'll keep an eye on the Leonard Fournette situation as the week goes along. Let's see when that game is. That's Sunday, so he has time to get into the groove here. Kareem Hunt's game is Thursday, so yeah, we're picking him right now. We're going to keep him in the lineup for Thursday. This one we have a chance to switch out. And who are they playing? They're at Oakland, so we have a chance to switch out Leonard Fournette as after Thursday's game into the weekend. So I might change my picks, but as of right now, I'm going to show you who I'm going to pick, regardless of whether they're hurt or not. It's going to be Kareem Hunt and Leonard Fournette for sure. Leonard Fournette being a lock. Wide receivers. Here we go. Wide receivers. Antonio Brown is the best wide receiver in the last 4 weeks. They're playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a tough defense. They're down here again. Way down here, and this is not going to be good. Even though Pittsburgh's at home against Cincinnati, Cincinnati's defense is that good that they're keeping the fantasy points away from them. So maybe this is not a good pick. Even though in that kind of a game, you would think Ben Roethlisberger would go to Antonio Brown. Ben Roethlisberger, however, has been throwing picks the last 2 weeks. A lot of picks, a lot of interceptions. So maybe Antonio Brown is one to stay away from this coming weekend. DeAndre Hopkins has a bye. Too bad. Larry Fitzgerald's at Los Angeles Rams. And look, I'm sorry, Los Angeles Rams. Let's see, where are the Rams at here? Anywhere? No, they are not here on the list. In fact, they're down here, way down here. So this probably isn't a good pick either. AJ Green at Pittsburgh. Our defense against wide receivers is really, really good. In fact, we're the best. So AJ Green is not a good pick. Jordy Nelson at New Orleans Saints. Let's see here. New Orleans Saints is not the top. They're down here. And remember, their quarterback is not playing, so Jordan Nelson definitely not a good pick. Brandon Cooks at Atlanta Falcons. And as you can see, Atlanta Falcons has been doing really good against uh, wide receivers. Will Fuller, Chris Hogan at Atlanta. Odell Beckham, he's on an injured IR. He's not playing. T.Y. Hilton at Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars. So this is a really bad week, guys. This is, for fantasy points, this is one of those lopsided weeks where everything's going against you. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the second best. So, yeah, that's not going to really happen. Mike Evans against Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills here anywhere at the top here? Not really. They're here. That might be your best matchup is to put Mike Evans against the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills have been doing good. Carolina Panthers, Devin Funchess against Chicago. Wow, look at this. This is terrible. Um, mm. This is one of those. This is one of those times now where you just might have to just go with your best wide receivers, even though they're going against teams that are really good against wide receivers. Um, yeah. So what I do in this case is I look for the home wide receivers, the ones that are at home, because they have the better chance of getting points in a crowd that's silent, right? As quiet. So Antonio Brown. So Cincinnati here is at 20. Larry Fitzgerald's at Los Angeles Rams. They're at 20, also tied. Let's see. Brandon Cooks Atlanta. They're even lower than that. You have Chris Hogan there. Also, Will Fuller is on a bye. Odell Beckham. Okay, T.Y. Hilton, Jacksonville. They're even lower than that. Oh my goodness. Um, Mike Evans, Buffalo. Where was Buffalo at? Up here at 15. Okay, so you know what? We're gonna do Antonio Brown and Mike Evans. What's going on with Stephon Diggs here? Stephon Diggs was a non-presenter during the Wednesday practice fighting host. Until earlier Wednesday when the media inquired about Diggs' availability for the Sunday's game against Baltimore. The Wild didn't practice at all last week and still wasn't ready to take the field Wednesday with Michael Floyd. So, okay, so this is not a good pick here. Stephon Diggs is not a good pick. Deshaun Jackson at Buffalo. Well, he's another wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Golden Tate has a bye. Nelson Aguilar for Philadelphia against Washington. And they're doing good against wide receivers. Okay, so I'm going to draw the line here. It's going to be Antonio Brown and Mike Evans are going to be my two wide receivers. They're taking Julio Jones. Julio Jones is not even on this list of wide receivers. Who is Atlanta playing? Oh, look, no one's picking Chris Evans or Mike Evans. I'm going to add him here. Who is Atlanta playing? Who are they playing? Let's see. Let's go down the list here. Atlanta. Where are you at? Atlanta is playing at New England. Oh, I know why they're taking Julio Jones, because the New England wide receiver defense is terrible. You see here, they're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're number 7 worst. Aha, I see why they're taking Julio Jones. But Julio Jones isn't even registering on the top wide receivers. So, kind of wonky there, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go Mike Evans and Antonio Brown. Let's just go with that. This is a weird week that way, but that's just how it goes. Tight ends. Let's go tight ends. Last 4 weeks, tight ends. Here we go. Cameron Brate is the number 1 tight end in the league for Tampa Bay, and they're playing Buffalo. So look at the list here. Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. Nothing going on. Okay, so might want to stay away from that. Zach Ertz going against Washington, and Washington is allowing the most points, or I'm sorry, the 4th most points against tight ends. So we're going Zach Ertz right now. Zach Ertz. Rob Gronkowski against Atlanta, and Atlanta is all the way down here. That's not a good one. He is at home. But Zach Ertz is at home with Philly, and yeah, we're going Zach Ertz for sure. You can see how many points he scored, 43. So has Rob Gronkowski, got 43 points also. That's pretty darn good. Cameron Brate against Buffalo at Buffalo. Now we're going Zach Ertz at home. Phillies lighting it up. We're definitely taking Zach Ertz. All right, kickers. Arizona. He's at home. Greg Zuerlein's at home against Arizona. This one you have to kind of um, say to yourself, okay, where's the nicest weather? Where are the domes? Where are the kickers playing in the domes? That kind of thing. So as you can see, the highest kicker playing in the dome this weekend would be, let's see, Jay Gillitt's not going to be in a dome. Greg Zuerlein's not going to be in a dome. Robbie Gold is not going to be in a dome. Stephen Hauschka is not going to be in the dome. And Vinatieri is going to be in a dome against Jacksonville. And Jacksonville has a great defense against wide receivers and all that. So Adam Vinatieri might be the only kicker here who might get a lot of points if the quarterback can go down the field, against that Jacksonville defense. So that might be interesting. And here they are right here. Jacksonville's at number 11, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, right on 11 for allowing kicking points. That's good. Robbie Gold at home against Dallas, and Dallas is allowing a lot of points, a lot of kicking points. But see, these numbers are skewed because see what happens is Atlanta is in a dome, Dallas plays in a dome, Indianapolis plays in a dome, um, Detroit plays in a dome. So these are obviously going to be in the higher uh, allowing points because their opposing teams are kicking field goals from 40 and 50 yards away with no wind, no, weather to deal with. And that's why these teams are up. That's why I always pick a kicker that's going to be in the dome at home because they're probably going to get more points. Matt Prater has a bye, or else I would have picked him because Detroit, their quarterback can actually get the team down the field and to kick a field goal. New England is at home. They're not in the dome, but their offense is good enough to give Gostkowski points. Let's see. Casey obviously is not playing in a dome at Oakland. Graham Gano is at Chicago. He's not in the dome. Catanzaro is not in the dome in New Jersey at the new stadium. New Orleans here now. Oh no, they're at Green Bay. They're not in the dome. L.A., Minnesota. So I think we're just going to go with Adam Vinatieri for the kicker. As you see, no one likes this. No one likes Adam Vinatieri here, but I'm going to do it because this crazy league, you just never know what they're going to do. All right, defense. Look at the defense. Let me look at the kickers one more time here. Adam Vinatieri at home against Jacksonville. Yeah, okay. We'll go Vinatieri at home. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Okay, so defense, here we go. Defense is New Orleans Saints. Look at this. New Orleans Saints have gotten 62 points. That is amazing. What's going on here with this? Let's see. The Saints are traveling healthy to face backup quarterback Brett Hundley and the Packers on Sunday. There's no way to know what to expect. Sunday Hundley is a very talented quarterback, but he struggled in relief for Aaron Rodgers, throwing just 1 touchdown and 3 picks. The Packers' woes go further than who's under central, though, since they may be missing 3 of their 4 starting offensive linemen. In that case, the Saints defense is going to have a field day. They're coming off a week where they scored 3 defensive touchdowns, but also let up 32 points. Yes, so the New Orleans defense definitely has a chance here to just really roll off some points against Green Bay. And that's something to consider. And Green Bay is down here at number 14, allowing the 14th most fantasy points against defenses. So that's something to consider. I kind of like that. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars at Indianapolis. And as you can see, Indianapolis, even though they're without their quarterback, that backup quarterback is actually doing pretty good. And as you can see, they are where are they at? Where's Indianapolis at? There they are. They're kind of high. They're at number 12, and Jacksonville Jaguars has been lighting it up. I mean, they just ripped off a lot of interceptions against Pittsburgh, which is probably where they got most of their points these last 4 weeks. Looks like in the last 2 weeks, yeah, they've been doing really, really, really good. If you look at the 2017 season, they're number 1. Last 4 weeks, they're number 2. So Jacksonville Jaguars, man, just been lighting it up. Anyways, they're going against Indianapolis against a backup quarterback. So that might be a good start there for the Jacksonville defense. In fact, let's see who everyone's picking. The Jacksonville Jaguars right off the bat. So Jacksonville Jaguars looks like a good pick here, even though they're in the dome at Indianapolis. Still looks like a good pick. The next 2 teams, Houston and Detroit, have byes. Los Angeles Rams at Arizona, and Arizona's down here at 13. So that's one to think about. Minnesota Vikings at Baltimore, and Baltimore's been giving up some points to opposing defenses the last 4 weeks. Make sure the last 4 weeks is picked here. So that's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 against the number 9, looks like. Against the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a 9 against a 10. No, I'm sorry, 1, 2, a 6 against a 10. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, a 6 against a 10. What else can we see here? So the Kansas City Chiefs at Oakland, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But they're at Oakland. I don't like that. I like the home teams here when it comes to defenses. See that Jacksonville's at Indianapolis. Kind of don't like that. New Orleans at Green Bay. Even though the Green Bay's quarterback is probably going to be terrible in this game. But New Orleans is number 1. See, that's the only reason why I would pick the New Orleans Saints at Green Bay is because New Orleans Saints have been number 1. Then you would probably do that, and with a backup quarterback and all that good stuff, and what they were saying about it. But the Los Angeles Rams at home against Arizona, who are down here, and then you have the Minnesota Vikings at home against Baltimore, who are down here. That kind of looks good. Let's see what this says here. Anthony Barr, concussion in practice Wednesday ahead of the Vikings matchup with the Ravens. Yeah, that looks very, very good there also. So yeah, this one is a wonky pick too. Like you just don't know. The Pittsburgh Steelers at home against Cincinnati, and as you see, Cincinnati is not letting up a lot of points. Let's see who else here. Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. New York Jets they're right here at number. They're in the same area as the Colts, the Raiders, the Chicago Bears, and that stuff. So I don't know. Like this is just weird. Green Bay Packers. Yeah, but they're going against a strong offense in the New Orleans Saints. I don't like that matchup at all. The Bengals defense at Pittsburgh. See, so now Pittsburgh's allowing me a lot of points the last 4 weeks. Let's see what this says. Yeah, it's interesting too. So, okay, so I'm going to make my decision. I'm going to pick the New Orleans Saints. This is a long shot here on the New Orleans Saints. I should pick the Jacksonville Jaguars in Indianapolis in the dome because man, they've just been lighting it up on their defense also. And this is against the backup quarterback in the dome. Blah blah. But the Green Bay has been so beat up. They have a backup quarterback who hasn't played, and New Orleans is has gotten the most points these last 4 weeks. Oh, man, I want to go with New Orleans so bad. So bad. Ugh. Look at these points here. 31, 62. Oh man, it's hard not to pick either one of these. Look like 62 and 60. That's 15 points average for the defense for these two teams. Oh man, this is I'm gonna call it. Let's just take New Orleans. Hey, let's just take New Orleans and let's just make it a wild weekend. This has been a weird pick for all of these. So let's just go with the weird pick then. The New Orleans Saints against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. All right, there you have it. There's my picks for the perfect challenge. I'll give you the full screen here so you can see all of my picks. This is for Week 7, 2017 season. Hope everyone has a great night, and see you later.